I call the soil the great forgiver.
Why do you call the soil the great forgiver?
Because the soil is able to digest and decompose and restore finally everything, including fuel, poisons, antibiotics, and all the crazy things that we are dropping everywhere right now. And yeah, the soil is capable of you know, processing it into the dark. The soil is something that we don't see. We are standing up, we are in the air, so we are looking to the sun, we are looking, we are proud of the flowers, of the plant growing, but we always forget the roots, for instance. When you look at a tree, you see the tree like this, but you forget that it's as important. It's a bit a special place because it was the first farm of Auroville, and it's also its oldest one. It's the first one which has been planned and wanted by mother herself. She knew, she was very pragmatic in fact, and she knew that if she had to create a new society, a new gathering of human beings, she would have to feed them. That's very simple. And yes, one of the first things she planned was a farm. And this land was bought in '64, purposely to become a farm. And she had, in the ashram, she had Gérard, who was there since '55. Now he's 88 years old, 87 years old.
And he's still here?
He still stays here. We live together. And they officially started the farm in '68, 69. It's also one of the biggest farms. And it has, it started with a funny story because this land was belonging to a Swami, a kind of priest, you know, and there was a temple, a Ganesh temple on the land. And the Swami sold the land to mother, telling mother that he would sell the land because of the Auroville project, because he knew the project and he agreed with it, and he said, "Mother, I sell you my land because I love your project, but I put a condition. One, you keep the temple on the land, and second condition, you give the puja every day." And since then, since '64, we give the puja every day in the temple, which is part of the farm. It's amazing. At the corner, just over there, at the corner with the highway, you will find it. So, another funny story is that mother in '67, when she was talking with Gérard about the farm, was perfectly aware of the danger of chemical farming, and she wanted the farm to be organic. But she had said to Gérard, Gérard, you will have to feed the community. And for Gérard, he was 37 years old. In '68, the so-called green revolution, chemical farming, was really pushy and strong trend, and organic farming was not so popular. Permaculture was not coined yet. So Gérard said, "Mother, I don't trust myself. I want to start it conventional." And she insisted, and he admitted that she insisted thrice. She came back to him saying, "Gérard, I'm annoyed because I want people in Auroville to do yoga, to transform themselves. How can they transform themselves if they eat rubbish and chemicals in their food?" She was really aware of that in '68. That's amazing. But anyway, Gérard maintained his position and he started the farm conventionally. So this farm has been conventional for 43 years, till 2012, when I came here and when I took over the farm. The conversion officially started in October 2012. So organic conversion. Yeah. So it will be soon 6 years. That's it. And I would say that as you can see how the soil is, it's mainly sand. It's a red soil. You can recognize it. It's a red soil, which is a very typical tropical soil. It's a soil which is very fragile because it's made mainly of sand. A lot of iron oxide, some bad clays, but not very good for agriculture. It's a good soil for forest, but it's a very bad soil for agriculture. And 43 years of conventional farming have damaged the soil quite easily. So when I came here, I had really to heal the soil, and it gave to the farm its vocation. I discovered by doing things. I just came to the evidence, to the clarity that what we had to do here was more than simply being organic, but we had to be regenerative. We had to regenerate the environment. So now when one asks what kind of farming we are practicing here, I always say regenerative organic farming. For me, organic is not sufficient. Not putting chemicals is not sufficient on the planet right now. The planet is sick, and the farm is like a model of the planet, and we have to heal the planet. And I have to heal the farm. So we practice an agriculture which is a regenerative one, which means that we have, of course, a first objective, which is to produce food. I would say that in general, on Earth, everything would go better if each and everybody was switching from a position of being a sucker to a position of being a provider. Instead of taking, exploiting and sucking, if we would provide, enrich, give, that would be much better. So we want to be food producer, food giver. That's our main vocation. That's what Mother said. You will have to feed the community. So we feed the community. But if you feed the community by spoiling the fertility, it won't last long. It's not sustainable. It's actually what we did at the planet scale. So we have also to be providers of fertility. Yeah. So I will explain how we do that, because this is the main focus of the visit. Some simple techniques, but in fact, techniques are not so important. The main thing is to understand the principles. In fact, then you do what you have to do at where you are and according to who you are. But then, for the moment, let's continue with that. How to produce food and fertility if you cannot maintain life? And life needs water. So in this country, in this climate, we have a problem. We have no rain for 6 months. So we have to become, I would say, net producer of water. It means that we must be sure that at the end of the year we have more water than we had at the beginning. How could you define fertility?
Fertility is to see something grow and bear fruit.
Yes, that's a good definition. Yes, it's fertile if it bears fruit. Now, if we focus on the process through which it finally bears fruits, I received an answer from an Australian guy, a permaculturist, which was very nice. He said, fertility, it's life building up on life. Life building up on life. And I love that, because there you see that it's an ongoing process. That's something which builds up on itself. And then it bears fruit as a result. Because it creates abundance, it creates excess. And the excess, you can make profit of it. So I will try to explain first how the conventional agriculture functions. I don't know how it came, but globally we can simplify, I will make it a bit higher. We can simplify the classical game like this. We had plants conventional system is to feed animals with plants. Could be that we feed directly on plants, or that we feed cows and animals that we eat on plants. Then we eat the animals, but more or less it's always the same system. And what happens is that for many reasons, I could go into the detail, we went toward a system where the plants are grown through artificial inputs, which are mainly nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium. NPK, the famous NPK. It came from the fact that a guy called Liebig in 1870 discovered that he could grow a plant into water, provided that he put just this mineral into the water. And we understand better now how plants really grow, and I will explain. But at that time they thought that they had discovered the recipe of life, that the food for plants was NPK. So they started feeding plants with minerals. They started by exploiting the guano, you know, the bird shit on the islands. Then when the bird shit was finished, they had a good opportunity, which was to recycle all the army industry, weapons and industry. Yeah, because gunpowder is made of the same elements. So the same industrial plants could produce weapons or fertilizer. Yeah. And you know, it happened maybe 20 years ago in France. A fertilizer plant near Toulouse in the southwest of France exploded. Bam! And it broke. It made a lot of injuries and death. Because it's the same processes in the same environment. So the industrial complex saw an opportunity to earn money, to make business and to make profit by developing this kind of agriculture. And so the principle is that they stuff plant with NPK and the plant then feed the animal. And then some details are important to understand. In our islands, NPK must be produced with fuel because you need energy for that. So you burn natural fossil fuels and you burn natural resources. And of course in this process you create pollution, CO2 and everything. And also the animal outcome, which is animal pee, animal caca, separation of husbandry and agriculture. People who grow grain now, they are starving for fertilizer to make their field grow, and they use an artificial NPK. And people who raise animals, they are overwhelmed under mountains of shit. They don't know what to do. So maybe we can use 1 or 2% of it to heat the municipal swimming pool or something like that, but it's nothing in comparison with the quantities we produce. So globally, everything which comes out of the animal for the moment is also a pollution. The way plants are feed. In fact, that's not the right way. The soil is the one which is capable of recycling, digesting and put back into the cycle everything which comes back from the plant or from the animal as well. And the soil is a living being. It's made of a multitude of animals, fungi and bacteria and a lot of things. And it thrives, it dies. When the soil dies, it produces this famous NPK. When the soil dies, the soil has a kind of permanent cycle of how do you say, birthing? I don't know, growing, and dying and growing and dying. If provided you feed it, it has a life. It has a life which goes up and down. And when it goes down, it's what we call the mineralization. It becomes mineral elements, which are the food for plants. So that's really how it works. The life of soil nourishes the plants. The plants nourish animals. The outcome of animal and plant nourishes soil. And here we have a wheel. We have something which can turn. Yes, it's important to realize that soil is a living being. We teach children that there is two main rains, you say, on the plants. So,
And is this compost or the
so you said compost, and compost is a kind of specialized soil. Let's say it's a kind of soil that you encourage, that you concentrate on one place just to accelerate the process. That is exactly what happens. We'll see that at the bottom, it's already had been digested by small animal. It becomes smaller and smaller, and then it becomes insensibly, it becomes soil. The soil in front of you, the soil is eating the plant. And that's how the soil is made, in fact, the living soil is made. If it's not living, it's dirt, it's not soil. What we call soil in English is really a living soil. Huh? And it happens everywhere, naturally. You just have to mimic it and to encourage it. And there we cannot see dead animals, but probably they are there somewhere. But that's exactly what should happen also with your pee-pee, with your caca, and with your body when you are dead. And that is this Auro. So we have a wheel, now it can turn. But where is the engine? What makes it turn?
From where?
I don't know. Where do you want to push for it, for the wheel to turn? Where is the energy? To make something move and turn, we need energy. Where comes the energy from? The sun. The sun is the energy source.
Oh, you missed the camera. Where's the energy source?
The sun and the water.
Water doesn't provide energy. Sun is the source of energy.
Okay.
So there is only one on Earth. Not exactly one, because we have a small, tiny sun is giving an incredible energy. You can imagine each and every square meter receive 1,000 watts. You could boil water. That's completely crazy. So the sun gives us a tremendous amount of energy. And this is the energy which makes plants thrive. And everything starts here. And everything on Earth started here by cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are the ancestors of plants. The first one who managed to do the photosynthesis. The process by which sun activates the circle, the wheel of life, is called photosynthesis. It is the only place on Earth where value is really created, where something new is created. This place is the leaf of a plant. Sun, a bit of water, sun, a plant, boom, it thrives, it grows. Everything else on Earth, if you, I don't know, if you produce Coca-Cola bottle, or if you produce nuts and bolts, if you produce services, if you are a consultant, an artist, and anything else, you will transform things. You will need a computer, so even if you produce ideas, you will need a computer and paper, so you will need things which have been transformed. And if they have been transformed, it means that they have taken energy and they have increased the entropy. The only place on Earth where entropy somehow diminishes, where information is created, where value is created, the only place is the leaf of plant. That is the only place. So that is a place where abundance is created. And then the plant nourishes the soil nourishes the plant. This first wheel turned for some billions years. Then we invented the animals, and the big wheel now turns like this. That's all. Very simple. It doesn't mean that you have to do this or that. It will depend on your character, your feeling. It will depend on your place, your climate, your soil. A lot of things could be different. But the principle is the same, because this works everywhere. Everywhere. There is only one exception, in fact. The life which is building up at the bottom of the oceans, next to the volcanoes, you know, underwater volcanoes, where life is fed by the heat given by the volcanoes, and it grows, it thrives on sulfur. Not the same, but it's tiny.
And the sun is not there.
And the sun is not there. But this is for, let's say, 99.99% of what happens on Earth. That's exactly the recipe. There is no other way. Okay, so now I think we can have a walk. The other characteristic, it must be protected. If you let the soil exposed to sun and rain, it will die, like you. Yeah, of course it dies. The sun can kill the soil life on 1 centimeter in 10 minutes here. It's very simple. It's so hot. All the bacteria are sterilized. Yeah. So, and rain does the same also. The heavy rains we have here, they hurt the soil mechanically, and they also wash it completely. So the only ecosystem which was stable here was the forest. But we destroyed the forest. And forests is fine, but to nourish people it's a bit delicate. So practicing agriculture in this climate is trying to sneak between the temptation of the desert, because if you remove the forest, what do you have? You have a desert. It's two stable states. A desert can be stable here. A forest can be stable. Agriculture, a farm is not stable. You have to permanently try to protect the soil in order to prevent him become a desert, and you have to also prevent the nature to overgrow everything and to prevent you to grow your food. So you have to find your way between the two extremes. And
so that's the labor.
That's the labor. That's exactly what we do permanently. But we need to create value. We need to receive the energy from the sun. So we need to grow plants. The second principle is grow something.
Yeah.
Because if you don't grow, you just don't receive the gift, which the gift of nature. That's all. You should mention water, because technically the first component of it is water. 60, 70, 80, 90% depending on the plant. But and we share that with the plants. Our first component is water. But in fact, this component water is not completely linked to us, to our body. It's just a kind of media, a kind of medium, let's say, which is used by nature to allow chemical reactions, allow the body to stand and things like that. If you dry a plant, water goes out, and at the end you have only a fraction of the weight, which is the dry body of the plant. So water is the first component, but it's not really a component because it's not intricated into our body. You know, it's just like a portion of the primordial ocean that we just carry with us in order to be able to continue to live on Earth. Next, what is fiber? You said fibers. You know the chemical composition of fibers in plants? So let's first start by the question. Where I will tell you how it's made chemically, but where does it come from? This plant, does it grow from the soil? Does it grow from the air? Does it grow for whatever you could think? You can
Grows
imagine?
from the soil.
It grows from the soil. Spontaneous reaction. Everybody
It's a seed. Starts with
yes,
a seed.
it grows from the
tree.
seed. Yeah, that's the meaning of my question. You start with the seed, which is a tiny thing like this. So then you have a big thing. So it must grow from something. And you say it grows from the soil, which sounds logical because soil is a material thing.
Yeah.
This is a material thing, so we think it grows from soil. So it's absolutely wrong. 96% of this comes from the air. It's made of air. Yes, 96%, if you accept water, 96% of this is made of air. And that's perfectly logical, in fact, because 90-something% of our bodies is carbon. And if not carbon, then we have hydrogen, which helps to maintain the chains of carbon, which make the fibers we are talking about. So the structure is made of chains of carbon. The sugar, which holds energy, is made of chains of carbon. And everything needs the H to arrange the carbon together. Then, to liberate, to use the energy, to burn the energy and use it and move and talk and think and everything, you need oxygen. As soon as you have a liberation of energy, oxygen is involved. Because liberating energy is what we call in chemistry an oxidation. So it's about oxygen. That's why you breathe, in fact. Then, in order to ensure that you are Cecilia and not me, and I am me and not Cecilia, we are different, we have a code, we must carry information. To know that you have 2 legs and not 3 and everything, you have to maintain information. Information is mainly carried by amino acids, hormones also and things like that, and these are made with nitrogen. So this is a recipe of the main recipe of life, CHON, Shawn.
That's me.
What?
Shawn.
Shawn. Shawn. So Shawn is a recipe of life. Of course, you also need phosphorus and others, and potassium, etc. But you know, when you reach that stage, you are already at 99-point-something% of a living body. You made of Shawn, and everything comes from the air. This comes from the CO2. What we forgot into our sketch is that the sun, in fact, makes the photosynthesis work, and photosynthesis is the process by which CO2 of the atmosphere becomes the body of the plant. That's why we are made of thin air, because we are mainly made of carbon. H and O come from water, which mainly come from the sky also. And nitrogen, where is the reservoir of nitrogen?
Soil.
Yes, ultimately.
And air.
Yes, 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. So the great mistake of the conventional agriculture is to have thought that we should stuff the plant with nitrogen. Because I think nitrogen is there. It's a main component. We are immersed into nitrogen. We just need somebody to catch it and give it to the plant. And who does that? Some bacteria, which are specialized. They know perfectly how to get nitrogen. They are in the soil, and they get nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, and they make it available for the plants. Exactly what happens in the compost also. And it's also related to, you know, the yin-yang.
What do you call soil?
I call the soil the great forgiver.
Why do you call the soil the great forgiver?
Because the soil is able to digest and decompose and restore finally everything, including fuel, poisons, antibiotics, and all the crazy things that we are dropping everywhere right now. And yeah, the soil is capable of, you know, processing it into the dark. The soil is something that we don't see. We are standing up. We are in the air, so we are looking to the sun. We are looking. We are proud of the flowers, of the plant growing. But we always forget the roots. For instance, when you look at a tree, you see the tree like this, but you forget that it's as important. So I'm a bit far from pure agriculture, but it's important because.
And when you say you're healing the soil here.
Yeah.
That is bringing all this material back.
Yeah. We are. What do we do here? We grow plants.
Yeah.
We return them to the soil.
Yeah.
When we have animal, we return the outcome to the soil.
Yeah.
We nourish the soil. The soil grows, nourish the cycle, and everything goes stronger and faster.
And in these 6 years, when you have been doing organic farming, the soil, would you say it's now healed?
It changed a lot. Really, it changed a lot.
Yes, I'm ready.
So, so I just explained to Cecilia the principles which are the foundations of our practice here, what we call organic regenerative farming. And it's quite simple. It's about respecting the life, in fact, how life works on Earth, which means mainly reintroducing soil into the game. What we forget into conventional farming is the soil. That's simple. We built the system with plants and animals, but we forgot the soil. So we bring back the soil into the game and we feed the soil and everything goes fine. Yeah. So, and how you feed the soil? You grow plants and you give them to the soil. So green manure, mulching, what else? A lot of compost, and all these techniques are the base. And there is nothing very clever, in fact. What is maybe clever is to understand how important it is and how consistent you must be in order to restore the thing.
Do you have any specific questions for him? One question.
Yeah, you're mentioning this Shawn.
Shawn.
Can you just tell briefly what is Shawn?
Shawn? Oh, Shawn is a recipe for life. It's Shawn means it's the abbreviation of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. These four chemical elements are the main component of each and every living being on Earth. We are all made of Shawn, and all the Shawn comes from the air. The carbon comes from the carbon dioxide, CO2. H and O come from many metabolism of water, and N come from the air, also from the nitrogen, which is the base of our atmosphere. 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. So, and if you take CHON, Shawn, you have more than 99% of yourself, and of any plant, of any living being, in fact. And everything comes from the air. So the good news is that we are made of air. We are made of thin air. Plants are made of thin air. And as we eat plants, we are made of thin air too.
What happens when we eat animals?
When you eat animal, you just eat the same kind of components, CHON. We are all made of the same elements, you know, plants, animals.
So everybody's air now.
Yeah.
So one day we can fly?
And when you die, you must return. When you pee, when you poo, when you die, everything must return to the soil, because this is food for soil. And this is important, because if you don't close the loop, you know, the thing is open and it's like blood flowing out of your body. You know, at the end you're dead. So, and if you don't do that, you just kill the life. Life is based on this cycle. It's what one guy said during a farm tour. He said, yes, fertility is life building up on life. So we are here on Earth to eat and be eaten.
So you're saying if we don't return all ourselves to the soil, we are not really sharing, we're just taking.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's my deep feeling, yeah.
You can say thank you at the end.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, please.
So, Shama is the one which is most tame.
More friendly?
Friendly. This one is curious, but she's a bit shy.